I have a date with the trunk of your car like Joe Pesci in Casino.
Next time, give it loud for Anthony Eugenio. We're having next time. Very funny. Wayne Russell, everybody.
Welcome to the Open Mic Pain with Anthony and Wayne podcast.
Why, hello everybody, and welcome to an Open Mic Pain with Anthony and Wayne. And today we have another very, very special edition because we have my man Maxwell Shultz in the house. How you doing, Max?
Doing really well. How are you guys?
Good. I also have a lump of piece of shit sitting in the center of my computer dial. And that is fixing his lights, and his name is Wayne, the man Russell. How you doing, buddy?
I'm well lit. Doing pretty good.
Well lit piece of shit. It rhymes.
Awesome. So, Max.
All right, so we're really pumped. Oh, yeah. Sorry, you go, Wayne.
That's cool. Thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. I know we've been trying to get this going for a little bit now.
Yeah, sorry about the not confusion, but the me bailing.
Life happens. No, life happens.
Yeah,
don't worry about that. I want to start off with asking you about your start in stand-up. Like, how long ago did you start?
Sure.
What were some of your influences? What was your first mic? Or, how'd that all come to be?
Yeah, all right. I mean, yeah, the show's Open Mic Pain. So, I started roughly 9 years and a month ago from when we're recording this. I don't know when this airs, but a little over 9 years ago. And I started because I'm, I guess in terms of what I'm trained to do, I'm a musician first and then a comedian, even though I think I'm a better comedian than musician. But I was in a bunch of bands. The last band I was in was a folk band that it was a 4-piece that became a 2-piece, and I was the drummer and frontman. And then my other half quit, and I couldn't justify going on stage and playing drums and singing like Peter Gabriel or Bob Dylan songs. It just didn't work. And like all the while, people were doing that thing that I'm sure you guys have had happen to you, and most comics I know have, where people are like, "You should try comedy," and I would always say no. And then I just kind of dove into it. My first mic ever was at Coffee in Salem, New Hampshire. The coffee shop is still there. I don't think they do a mic anymore, but they could. But it was a mixed mic. I didn't really know how comedy mics worked. I knew how like music open mics work, and once in a blue moon there would be a comedian. So that's how I started. I did that open mic every Wednesday and Thursday. It was a twice a week mic. I did it every week for a year. And actually, Aaron Tornberg, who I still work with, was the host. He was the first person to ever bring me on stage as a comedian. Somewhere I still have a recording. Yeah.
So does Aaron have a history with comedy? Is it like, did he do stand up as well? I just kind of assumed you guys kind of met up at One Broadway, which I want to get to later a little bit.
No, but, I mean, Aaron has done stand-up, but, like, to my knowledge, like, 4 or 5 times ever. Like, he's gone up at my mic at One Broadway and, like, done a joke or two that he's written, but he doesn't have a background in it at all. He has a strong music background. He's a tremendous musician, but he was running this mostly music mic, and then I showed up with a couple friends and basically just said, "Can I try comedy?" And he said, "Okay." And it didn't go horribly. It wasn't good, but like it wasn't bad enough for me to say I never want to do this again.
That's a fun phenomena. Because I had the same thing. Anthony did it a few days before me, and then he dragged me to Strange Brew up in Manchester, and I was expecting a complete shit show, and it wasn't great. But like you said, it wasn't enough for me to go, like, I'm never doing that again. I got enough laughs where I was like, all right, cool. I think I can get into this.
Yeah, it's like golf. Mean, like, you hit one good shot. That's all you need. One good shot in a round. I just need one good laugh in a set, and I'm like, I'm back.
Yeah, like I remember my first laugh. My first laugh, I think it was the first joke I ever told. It's a true story, but it was about a coworker of mine thinking I might occasionally do crack cocaine. She called it.
Do you still do this joke?
No, I haven't. I mean, I did it once recently for my 9-year anniversary show, but before that, it had been many years. It's not a good joke. It's a good premise, but I never really at the time knew how to workshop it. and by the time I did, I was way beyond it. But it was about this woman I used to work with, thinking I occasionally did crack. She asked if I had a crack thing, and I got up at coffee and told like Aaron, a buddy of mine, and elderly people that, and I made like 8 elderly people cackle, and I thought I can probably keep doing this. But no,
wow. Have you ever heard the story of the first mic I did? I've told it a bunch of times on the podcast. Have you ever heard that shit? I don't want to repeat if you have. But the first thing I ever did was I picked up the microphone in Portland, Maine, and the cord fell out on the bottom because they had a janky cord. So that was the first step. So that sucked. Then I picked it up and put it in, and I told the dick joke. First thing I said, dick, was the first word out of my mouth to silence. For like, I did 5 straight minutes of silence, and I went really slow, like this slow, like Forrest Gump slow, because I read online before your first mic that you're definitely going to be too fast, so make sure you're cognizant about going slow. But I just sounded slow, you know. Yeah, it wasn't a good mic. But yeah, Wayne's was better.
Yeah, no, so I did that one mic for roughly a year, and then I kind of quit life. And I went on a road trip for 3 months by myself across the country, and I started doing mics in like every state. So I went from a coffee shop to like being around comedians all the time, which was a huge like culture shock because I didn't really know that's what I was gonna be doing, and then I did, and then I came back and like really got into it, pretty aggressively. And then that story about like me driving around doing mics and sleeping on strangers' couches and in my car and being borderline homeless. That became what my first book is about. It's a 21 essay memoir about driving solo cross country in a dying car. Yeah,
that's awesome.
I didn't realize you wrote a book. Is that on?
What's it called?
Yeah. So the one book that's out, I'm working vaguely on a second book, but it's called "This Is Why You Know Me." I normally have a copy of it handy. I don't. But it's 21 essays about travel and being 20 years old and an idiot, but surviving, and depression and loneliness and laughter, and it's a pretty wide ranged thing I tackled. And I released that in February of 2016, I believe, or 15. You'd think I'd remember the date, but I don't.
I'm sure it all
I gotta say though, you have if I was in 2nd grade and my teacher was like, later 8th grade, I'm a little more cognizant. My teacher's like, name the best authors of all time. Your name would be like, that's a perfect name for an author, Maxwell Shultz. Doesn't that sound like can't you imagine Charles Dickens, Maxwell Shultz like right next to each other? And a name bank. Like, Eugenio has never written a book. Eugenio has never done a thing. Actually, I Googled my name, mostly Filipinos. So I don't even know where that branch goes to, but not author. So
yeah, I
gotta say, even if the book sucks, nailed that part.
Yeah, the writing a book is a bitch. It sucks. It's really rewarding, but like it's when you rewrite the same 300 pages or whatever it is, 250 pages or whatever it is, like 100 times, it's awful.
Wow.
Not 100, but like it was 4 total revisions that took about 2 years to get done with my editor, but like it was a beast of a task.
I don't like having to rewrite jokes, so I couldn't imagine an entire book.
Yeah.
I don't actually like the work part of comedy. It sucks.
I do like the work part of comedy, but I'm also like a writer. That's what my degree is, and that's what I do leisurely, is just sit and write. Not jokes necessarily, but just in general, that's what I do.
So yeah, I was going to ask, actually, that leads into a great question that I had. Shut your mouth, Wayne. It was sorry.
No, we're good.
So
I couldn't imagine you saying sorry to him, so I responded.
No, that's okay. So I noticed, obviously, because you've been doing it for 9 years, which is awesome. You have a plethora of material, which is awesome. Like you have a new hour now, which the new hour is called for the audience.
Just another beautiful day.
Just another beautiful day.
Just another beautiful day, everybody. Very excited. Actually, you sent me that, Wayne, didn't you?
I did.
Isn't that? Yeah. I watched it. It was fucking... Goddamn, Max.
Thank you.
It sucks to see someone so much better than us in the fucking beginning, because to go that amount of time in comedy, I'd have to have a shit my pants break in the middle, which would take up 20 of the minutes, and then I could probably get it from there.
It's interesting.
That's...
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say that's true because he can't get through an open mic without pissing 7 times. I can't imagine him doing an entire set of 45 minutes to an hour without having
catheter
intermission every 7 to 10 minutes.
I do have a lot of material, and it's so Just Another Beautiful Day is my second album. My first one was called You Can Call Me Dad, which came out in 2020, and yeah, I mean, it's also quite a task to do that, but the best I can say is when you know when you're ready to do it, you just do. And I'm very lucky with both albums, the book on tape that I put out, all that stuff. I really, really got lucky. My editor is was my friend's wife. My producer is a very near and dear friend of mine. Everybody that films me are mostly my family or another very good friend of mine. I got very lucky with being around people who could help me do all that stuff. In terms of, but Just Another Beautiful Day, you said that's a new hour, and it's not. I'm not gonna let you give me that. The special came out 5 or 6 days ago from when we're recording this. But I recorded that last November. It just took this long for me to get the video out. The album itself came out in December of last year.
Oh, okay. So do you have a new hour now?
I'm working on one.
Look at that.
I'm working on one. So right now,
George Carlin, everybody.
Yeah. So, well, actually, I was going to make a Carlin reference, so good segue.
Bang.
Yeah. I'm not going to compare myself to George Carlin in any way other than what I'm about to say, because he is God. But Carlin worked on a roughly 24-month schedule, where he would record a special and then take roughly 24 months to phase out all of those jokes. By the end of the 2 years, he'd have a new hour, give or take. And that's more or less what I did between You Can Call Me Dad and Just Another Beautiful Day. And I would say I'm at the halfway point now between Just Another Beautiful Day and whatever it is that comes out next. So no, I don't have a new hour. I am, when I headline, I'm doing about an hour or 45 minutes or whatever the venue tells me to do. But I don't have a full hour yet. I'm pretty rapidly working on it, though.
And do you do most of your writing off stage, or do you do some of the writing on stage, throw premises out there and iron them out?
Both. So typically, actually, until maybe a month ago, I would have answered this differently. So what I used to say was that I didn't understand comedians who sat down at a desk and wrote with a pen and paper or a keyboard or whatever, and pumped out jokes. That doesn't usually work for me. I just kind of come up with an idea, harbor on it for about a month, and then I just throw it out at an open mic, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But recently, and you couldn't possibly read this because I write in chicken scratch, but I have, I'm at my desk, so I have this, very scrambled together thing of stuff I'm working on now, where I'm still not, writing out a joke like I would an essay or a story, but I am bullet pointing differently than I ever have. I think after having those 2 albums come out, what I'm trying to do next is write my next special to be I don't know, a Mike Birbiglia or an Eddie Izzard or Craig Ferguson, one of those comedians type of special where it's really one story with so many misdirects you forget what the story is until I end the special. That's kind of why I'm bullet pointing. I would say since Just Another Beautiful Day came out, I've probably got about a half hour of brand new stuff in the last year or so, but I'm trying to format it so that it just flows straight. Sorry, that was a
That's
long-winded
fucking
answer.
No. That's a really cool way to do it. Birbiglia is one of my favorites. I love that fucking style of storytelling, especially the one he does like in the looks like almost like a classroom auditorium. I forgot the name of that special, but very good.
Did you ever watch his movie, Sleepwalk with Me?
No, which one?
Oh, I didn't know we had another one. Sleepwalk with Me was the one that I've seen.
So Sleepwalk with Me is great. That Sleepwalk with Me, the special or the album, is my favorite comedy album of all time. But Don't Think Twice is another movie that he did, and it is tremendous. It's all about improv.
Oh, I'll have to check that out. I'm not familiar with that one.
Don't Think Twice is great.
So you have we'll get into the mic you run now. So in terms of coming up with your material and working it out and everything, you have the perfect mic for that.
I do.
One Broadway Collaborative, which we've gone to multiple times. We had an episode dedicated to our experience there. We utilized some of the audio and video from when we saw you there. We did the be cocky joke.
Yeah.
To try to work things out. I gotta say, I love your mic. I love what you do there. It scares the hell out of me. I'm much more comfortable with more people. But in that, like there, it scares the hell out of me. But I think that's a real growth opportunity. But so I guess my question is, when did you start that? How did it come to be? And let's start there.
I may screw up the timeline a little bit. So I started producing my own comedy shows November of 2021. And the venue I was doing it at to start with, I won't say where it was. I just won't, but because of what the story I'm going to tell you. But also I was running with a friend of mine, and he burned a bridge, and they kicked us out. And then Aaron, who I've known since my first open mic, was doing One Broadway. Was probably 6 months old at the time, and I said, "Hey, can I use your venue for a show? I got booted, but I have a showcase with 8 comics that need a stage." And he said, "Sure." And we were able to keep the same date and time. And I think it was after that, like a couple weeks later, we started the mic. And initially it was really sad. It was a depressing room because it was me, Aaron, and Freddie Sabelli, and nobody else for like months. And then people like Crazy Bay came in, and Fredo Cruz, and Carolina Montesquieu, and Yvette Hussein, and those guys. But for the first 2 months, it was me, Aaron, and Freddie, and we just kind of shot the shit until we decided no one's coming. And then people started showing up, and then I don't know. Initially, it was just like a regular mic, but there were so few people we gave feedback, and then we decided to keep that. And then there have been twice that I thought the mic was going to die. The first is I don't know if you guys were around yet. I don't, like in my life, I don't know if you guys knew me yet. But in January of this year, the One Broadway burned down, where you guys know it to be as our second location. Yeah, and I wasn't sure we were going to be able to continue, and Aaron really made it happen. And then a lot of my regulars stopped coming because I got better opportunities, and they were on more booked shows, and they weren't regulars of mine anymore. So it went back to being like me, Aaron, Freddie, and 2 or 3 other people. And then in the last 4 or 5 months, it's really worked out where we've got a core group of regulars now, which is great. And then, quite frankly, I've been getting really, really burned out with all sorts of things. I'm very overworked, and most days, most Mondays, I do the mic at 9, I'm home at midnight, and I go to work at 7 a.m., which is killing me. So now the mic is on sort of a rotation, which actually is how I'm doing this podcast. It's currently 10 minutes till my mic starts. But right now, I am taking a seat back from the host role, and I'm hosting sometimes, but Leland Newton, Carolina Montesquieu, Jacques Lambert, and Freddie Sabelli are also going to be permanent hosts. And we'll all just kind of take turns.
That is awesome. All great comics.
Thank you. Yeah. Very, very grateful to all of them for helping me out. So that's again a very long-winded answer to a pretty simple question.
That's what we're all about.
Yeah. I love the format so much. It's almost like standing up there naked.
Have we expressly said so far that it's a feedback mic? We should say that.
I think we did.
No.
Yeah.
Did we?
Did we not? Maybe we didn't.
Oh, I did. But one of you did.
No.
Yeah,
Well,
It is. It's a feedback mic, and like 98% of people take it. It's very rare somebody refuses the feedback. I find it kind of peculiar what they do. But yeah, it's been a feedback mic the whole time, pretty much, and it's
awesome.
It's so fun. And
I had a hard time biting on doing that in the beginning because Wayne did it first without me, and he's like, "Oh, they do feedback afterwards." I was like, "That's like someone watching me with my wife and then giving me feedback afterwards. I know I'm bad. Don't give me weird pointers." And then and then we did it, and it was fantastic. It was such a good time, and Jacques was there, obviously, who we're great friends with in the comedy world, and
yeah.
You know, it's just a great mic. I mean, you guys, the feedback is never like you are fucking terrible, which some, you know, I can feel that gaze sometimes, and I never got that there. So, been there a couple times. We're pumped to get back.
Yeah, I've met some really wonderful folks through that too, which is great. Like I already mentioned about Freddie Sibeli has to be my best friend in comedy, and I met him there. And also, like, not to toot my own horn, but so many people who are so good in our comedy community locally, or not so locally anymore, started at my mic. Like, that was Praise's first mic. That was Fredo's first mic. That was Avessa's second mic. That was Freddie's second mic. That was Mikhail Abujaude's first mic. Cassandra Zenek's first mic. Like, I can just list people who started in my room.
I think that's the allure to it as well. I think it can be a little as tough as it can be to know that you're going to get feedback, which can be easily mistaken as criticism.
Yes.
At least you're doing it in front of other comics and not a room full of people who don't understand the process of actually trying to write something out that's funny and say it. So,
I grew up in Lawrence for 25 years, my whole life, and when I found out there was a mic in Lawrence, I was like, no, there's fucking not. Ew, what? Where are they going to put that?
Yeah.
But you guys figured it out.
We did. Aaron did, really. I mean, Aaron even named the mic. The phrase "comedians anonymous" came out of his mind. That is Aaron Tornberg.
Oh, yeah.
Did he do music producing ever?
I believe so. Yeah.
Wow. I was in a band too, and like I recall. Sorry. Yeah, no worries. I recall, because I recorded in Lawrence a bunch, and I thought one of the engineers' names was Aaron when I was there. I wonder if it was him. It was like 15 years ago.
Aaron is a guy who has moved a lot in his life. I don't know where he was living 15 years ago.
I wonder. Well, we all got to jam sometime. Put this bump down together.
I miss it. I miss playing music with people. I miss playing music, honestly. I've been playing drums since I was 8 or 9 years old, and I haven't even had a kit set up in at least 2 years.
Wow, good drummer's hard to find.
So you
brings back to funny.
you also do. I saw recently the interview shows you mentioned earlier. I just got an alert. Performers on performing.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now, and that's been really fun. And part of what I love about that is it, as you guys know, like there's a lot of stress behind doing a 2-person or even like 4-person interview show. Where like, yeah, right now we're having fun, we're shooting the shit, and we're having a good time. But then you guys go and you edit it, you upload it, you do all the promo, all that stuff. With performers and performing, we have 7 or 8 co-hosts, 4 to 7 people filming, and 2 people like editing and uploading. We have like a full team of people at One Broadway and LCAT behind this. And when I say we have, I think 7 co-hosts, I might be off on that number, but roughly 7. Only 1 or 2 of us are on any episode. So on average, I'm only on 1 or 2 a month, but there is an episode every week.
Yeah, I started watching the one with Misadventure. It was great.
Oh my god, she was so.
Yeah, I plan on watching all of them. It's just between this and life and everything. It's my downtime to watch stuff is pretty minimal, but I did start watching that one. That was the first one I saw posted, so I did an awesome job. It's great.
Yeah, she's so good. How did what come up? I'm sorry. The show?
The idea for that show and all. Was that another Aaron baby?
Oh, yeah, it is. So, there's kind of a split answer. This is going to be another long-winded answer to an easy question. But Aaron called me probably 6 months ago or so and said, I have an idea for like a cable access TV show that's kind of like a podcast, or I don't know what to call it, but I'm thinking we have some comedians and musicians come on and we just interview them about what they do. And then we took like a month and a half to come up with a name and a format. And then Aaron and I handpicked people who we thought would be good interviewers other than the two of us. And we had people like Freddie Sibeli and Amanda Van Tyne come on as interviewers, and they're both tremendous at it. And I have 10 plus years of background in interviewing. I was on the radio for 10 years in Lowell, and I've run several podcasts of my own outside of this. And more or less, that's how the show came to be. We do one a week, and they air usually out of order, but we do one a week, and they go out. And we usually do it to plug stuff at One Broadway a lot of the time. It's been
awesome.
really
I love the idea.
Rewarding. Yeah, and it kind of scratched my itch because I quit working at the radio station in February. And I quit in February. My last show was in April, and this started in July, so it really kind of scratched my itch of not doing that anymore.
Yep. How was that working at a radio? I went to school for that, actually, for journalism. When I was 16, I started DJing, like schools and weddings. Well, I did weddings later, but Jack and Jill's, that kind of thing. That really piqued my interest in radio, so I went to school for journalism, like, writing for papers, radio. I took radio classes, editing classes. None of it ever stuck. I ended up selling auto parts for most of my life, and now I sell tools to machine shops. So I guess that's where this kind of scratches that itch for me. This podcast is really kind of like me living my dream from 20 years ago. But what was that like? What was the station?
Getting berated by a brown man on the internet.
Yeah. Well,
it's been a dream.
That was happening regardless. So.
Well, no, so I started at UMass Lowell's radio station, Wummel, in 2014 or 13? 14. No, it was 13. 2013. I'm going to stick to it because it doesn't really make a difference at all. But I started there as an intern, and then I had my own show, and then I went on that trip that I wrote the book about, and then I kind of came back not officially, just kind of hanging out, because my show never ended, it just kept going without me. And then I lucked into being best friends at the time with the general manager, who, with like a couple other people's help that I was also friends with at the station, I became what they call a community member, and until I quit, I basically couldn't have been kicked out unless I did something god-awful. Like said half the things I've said on here today. But it was great. I ran a show on there called Pop It Up to My VCR for 9 years, and we played a lot of hodgepodge music, a lot of different shit. I had like 37 different interns over the years, and probably about 20 co-hosts.
Damn.
It was great.
Yeah. I still think about that from time to time. Like how cool that would be. I'm kind of glad I didn't get into that field because, radio is kind of still there, but it's not quite what it was.
Right. And the whole time I was at Wummel, I was a volunteer. I never got paid to do anything, but it was still well worth it. I did a 2-hour show once a week. Sometimes, like, there were periods of time where I did more than that, but generally speaking, I did a 2-hour show, and then I would help out with events.
I have a light dream of doing sports talk radio. That's still around. Man, could I fucking talk about the Patriots right now? I could never do it on here. Yeah, all you'd have to do is say that they are a pile of steaming fucking shit, and as long as you put a little emphasis behind it, everybody in New England will know what you're talking about. Goddamn Mac Jones. How do we do that?
Way simpler than that. all I have to do is say, I know they are a sports team.
Yes,
about the end of my
they are. They sure.
We're on the same same wavelength.
Yeah, I
know. God damn it! I gotta bring. I think Justin's a Patriots fan. I'm gonna kick Wayne off an episode. We're gonna come on and we're gonna vent about the Patriots, New England.
Only if you edit it too.
No.
No.
No. I'll make a beautiful thumbnail with all kinds of footballs all over it. But fuck you.
He can bring his trophy on.
All right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Wayne, you got the questions. What do we got? What's the next one?
Yeah, so now I also want to know when you mentioned earlier you started producing shows back in 2019, was it?
2021.
Or 2021, rather? So what brought that up? What brought that up?
When I was in high school, a million years ago, I ran a production team where we'd put on music shows with like our friends' bands and shit, and then a guy that I'm friends with, who's not a comedian or an entertainer at all, just like a fan of the arts, wanted to do a show with me and stuff, and I said, what if we just kind of ran a couple of comedy shows, did like showcase style, had like 6 or 8 comics come on, do 10 minutes each or whatever it was, 15 minutes each, and see how that goes. And we did 2 together. They were fun, but not great. We were just starting out, and that's when I said like he burned that bridge. The venue kicked us out, and then I turned to Aaron. But I'd wanted to get back into producing shows since I stopped when I was 19 or 18 or however old I was when then. And so I was 25 or 26, and the occasion arose, and I jumped. I was just like, absolutely, let's do it. And and that's how Malice Comedy started, was me just doing that. And until recently, I was running that pretty much solo with like the help of like my brother, father, and fiance. But as a comedian, I was the only comedian behind the scenes of that. And now I have Leland Newton on my team, but for a long time it was just me, and it was great. It is great. I love running shows. I love producing them. I love doing all the work. It's very thankless a lot of the time, but like when it pays off and you get a really good show, a good response and stuff, it's great. When I pitch Malice Comedy or my shows to people who don't know me or don't know that I do this, I don't lie. I say, I've got about 200 comedians that I trust in my network of comics that I work with. They're not all on the same show, but like there's about 200 comedians that I have worked with, would book again, have booked again, plan to book again. And it's great. I've met some of my favorite people in comedy through booking them.
It is such a great community. Just all the different comedians that you meet, and you're at the forefront of it, getting to meet all of them. That's great.
Yeah, that's a question. So, because you've been doing it for almost 10 years now, does it feel like it's gaining popularity now more than it has in the last 10 years, or has it been a pretty steady row?
I would say it's gaining popularity. Both yes and no. Like, yes, it's gaining popularity where like there seems to be a lot of people coming to do comedy and stuff like that. But I would say a vast amount of the people I was working with those 5 or 6 years dropped off the face of the earth and don't do this anymore. Which baffles me. I don't know how you quit this, quite frankly. Like, I kind of imagine I'll be doing stand-up and then one day I'll die.
I can feel that. Like, you feel like you don't have... My week's not right if you don't get to get up there and get that out.
Yeah, like, I love doing stand-up. Like, it is one of my absolute favorite things in the world, and I just can't imagine not doing this.
Going back to producing shows. We should definitely talk. Anthony and I had... we kind of thought of this idea, and maybe at like the 1 year mark of this show, we considered, would it be fun to try to put together a show and do like a live podcast in the beginning, and then bring on, a bunch of guests that we had.
Yeah.
Jacques Lambert, maybe Nick Powell, Xtina, yourself, Dan Cronin, Aaron Feely, and and then do a little show after. We thought that'd be like a fun episode.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
But yeah, we definitely, if you'd be interested, we should try to collaborate something.
Yeah,
we got quite a few months out for that. We're at I think it was June we started. So
okay,
but yeah, that'd be a fun, like, 1 year celebration.
Definitely down to help you in any way I can. That sounds really fun. That'd be
awesome. Last time I saw you at One Broadway,
I had a full beard. I know.
Following week, I believe. You did. Yeah, I thought something was. Last time I saw you, you were the following week. You were on your way to West Virginia.
I was, and now I'm back.
How the hell did that come up?
Oh yeah, okay.
Do you know people out there? Or?
Yes. So my sister lives there and has since she was 2. That's a whole story that like doesn't pertain to this show, but very, very long, convoluted, confusing story short. My sister lives there. I've been going to West Virginia a couple times a year for a while, and then 2 years and 5 months ago, I was there, and I met my fiance. We didn't get engaged immediately, but like I met Haley down there, and then she moved up here a little while later, and also 95% of her family and friends are there, so it's a double whammy whenever we go down. We usually spend about a week there and see as many people as we can.
And do some comedy we saw.
Right, I did. So I was getting that. So like every time I go down, I try to do stand up, and there's not a lot of stand up in Charleston, West Virginia, or West Virginia at all. But this time, Andy Frampton saw my tape or something, and booked me, and it was a tremendous show. The room at the Shop is the name of the venue. I had to think about it. In Dunbar, it's brand new. I think it's been there for like 2 or 3 months. It's awesome. It drew a pretty sizable crowd. Andy let me headline, having never met me, which was incredibly generous of him. And it was a great show. It was really fun.
Yeah, I saw your post of it. It looked awesome.
It was great. In like any out of town show that I've ever done, and I can sincerely say that any show I've ever done out of town, and most of them in town, I didn't know anybody on the lineup, and they're all wonderful. They're all wonderful. I've stayed in touch with 2 of them, and like I'm sure I will work with them again. I'm hopeful that I'll be allowed to do the show there again for like New Year's ish.
That's going to be a crazy feeling, going to a completely different state, like so far away, and then doing material to people who have never, like for a fact, have never seen it. Like we go to open mics, we bounce around a lot, but there's always somebody there that has seen your bit. You have all the same people bouncing around, so that's going to be such an awesome feeling, just knowing that nobody has ever seen it, and that's going to be the truest form of reaction.
It is, and it's really fun, because you get what you just said, where like, they don't know it, so you get the true reaction, but you also can fuck around a lot. Because they've never seen your material, so no matter what you do, it is brand new that night.
Yeah.
And it's really fun. But like I fucked up. Like, I didn't do my research at that show, and I started telling my joke about rotaries, and somebody yelled out, "We don't know what that is!" And I can't justify it then. This joke will not work. It was about testicles, but you can't understand that. We're going to move to the next thing.
That's a pretty cool thing about stand-up that is that kind of goes underrated, is the fact that whenever you go on vacation or wherever trip that you go on, you're going to be looking for mics, and you're going to be able to do it out there. Like, I go to England with my wife a lot because that's very important to her. And we actually have been reached out to by a guy named Alfie, who's a comedian out in London. And, like, now, we want to have him on the show soon where we can make that work. And now when I go out there, like, that would be an avenue to do a show in London. And I can't wait to try that shit, see what those are like. Yeah,
I've never been lucky enough yet to do stand-up out of the country. I'm eyeing Toronto for late next year, but the way I've always gotten, not always, the way I've almost always gotten shows out of state is to do, or out of New England, is through connections. Like like Andy Frampton, who reached out to me about doing a show up here. He came up here on vacation, and unfortunately, the show he was on up here fell through. And then I was able, through Freddie Sibeli, to get him on a couple other shows. And then he gave me his tape, I gave him mine, and I think he's great. He thinks I'm great, and so we've been together, and I'm pretty direct contact with him now. And that's how that show in Dunbar, West Virginia happened. He liked my tape and knew I had a couple hours in me and gave me, I think he did 38 minutes or something, and it was great.
And no
incredible.
shipbreak, which is crazy.
Yeah, no shipbreak.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
Damn. That's really cool. I can't imagine getting to that point that you're at. It like seems like such a what do they call it, fever pitch? Is that the correct term?
Could you imagine a 38
Sure,
minute long
yeah.
dick joke? Could you imagine doing that?
I know.
That'd be awesome.
I've been having, I mean, you guys have both seen my snap, but like, I've been having a lot of fun with like any show where I usually lately have been opening with my joke about jerking off to the dead guy. The gist is,
in memoriam.
Yeah, but like to anybody who watches this who hasn't heard it, the gist is like I was masturbating, and then learned that the guy in the video was dead. Like after he shot it, he had died. I like doing that because it's like it's a shock joke, but like it's, in my opinion, legitimately a funny bit and a true story, except for the end of it. That's a little smudgy together, but it's really fun telling that and then being like, all right, I got you on my side. Let's be mundane.
Very relatable, too, because it doesn't matter what, like, if I found out that the person in the video that I was watching was part of, like a patriot-killing militia that only killed the Patriots players who I love, I would still, in the fog of cum, have to finish. I would still have to go. I'd be like, that's fine. That's fine. Whatever you guys need to do.
The fog of cum.
So, yeah, exactly. You need that.
So Max, being 10 years in, so
you've come a lot.
You've come a ton. Jesus Christ. Anthony and I just did the Burren, and Anthony did far better than I did, but you probably have the ability to pivot, or the care to pivot. You weren't there. I did do this joke at One Broadway, but it was the week. I think it was the first week, or that I know of, that Jacques Lambert hosted. You couldn't make it.
Sure. Yeah.
But I have this 5-minute joke about sucking dick. It's a full 5 minutes.
Okay.
And it did really well, and it normally does really well, but at the Burren it didn't. And for like 3 minutes, it was just like awkward stares and silence. And I was like, man, you guys aren't liking this at all, huh? And just more stares. And in my head, I'm like, I already lost this contest, so fuck it. I love this joke. I just kept blasting through it.
So, yeah.
Hold on. I have to say, because it makes me laugh so much. I think about it every day since it's happened. So the great part about that bit that Wayne has, because it's long, and it's meant to be. So by the middle of the joke, he kind of loses you a little bit, but he says, all right, we're off dicks. I'm going to move on to something else. And then he misdirects back into dicks. And because he does that, it's hilarious how he gets into it. I love it. I laugh every time. But over there, they weren't having it so bad that when he misdirected back into the dicks, there was like a, fuck.
Yeah.
type of
Right. Right. So you're questioning, am I able to like pivot out of a joke going south into something workable? Is that the question?
Yeah. Okay. I really just wanted you to know how much of a shitbag I am, is why I was telling you that.
No, I've bombed there too. That's a lesson I learned very early on. No matter how good you are at this, everybody bombs. Everybody bombs. It doesn't matter if you're at a first mic or if you're fucking, you name the biggest comedian you can think of. But like,
I didn't bomb in my eyes.
There you go.
Yes,
Perfect.
I made myself laugh.
Yeah,
you did.
But there's,
Which made it worse.
Like, yes, like I told that story. Like, I was doing that show in Dunbar, West Virginia, and I had that joke about rotaries. They didn't know what a rotary was, and I just like fucked around with it, and I made them laugh. I was like, the punchline was about testicles, but you wouldn't have gotten it. Anyways, here's another thing. You know, I can bounce in and out of material very easily.
Yeah, normally when you bomb a joke and you have a good save behind it, and annoyingly it gets like a bigger laugh than the joke ever did, at least for me. And that's the most annoying feeling ever is when your joke bombs and you're like, yeah, well, fucking shit, and then they laugh and it's way bigger than your whole set. That was kind of burny for me.
Yeah, that was my favorite part. So the night before the burn, Anthony does this joke where he's kind of, we'll just call it having like a conversation with his wife, and he acts kind of uninterested. So he did it at the Point. Have you been to the Point in Boston?
No.
Oh, check it out. It's a great mic, but it's on the second.
Yeah,
floor.
I know it is. I just haven't made it down.
So he gets to this point and he's acting uninterested. He turns around and he like kind of peeks out the window while he's doing his bit. He did that at the Burn, and they have like these ghost things hanging up, and he got some chuckles.
I adjusted her dress.
He got some good laughs throughout the set, but he got to the point of that part of the joke, and he turned around and he like picked up the dress and just kind of looked at it while he was talking. It was the biggest laugh. It might have been the biggest laugh anybody got at that night.
It was, and you know how annoying that was? You know how fucking annoying that was? Because I turned around, I didn't even know what I was going to do. I just was like, I got to put my hand on the wall. And then everybody started laughing, and I was like, that's... fuck! Yeah, that's about how good everything went, was that... that was the 10 times biggest laugh I got that night. And then, you know, fuck me. But we move on.
I love those stories. That's the other fun part of comedy, I think, is just like these, like how much you ate shit stories, or sometimes.
I'm never gonna forget your set. I forgot my set already. I'm never gonna forget Wayne's set. That was my favorite set anybody ever did.
It's because you like to see my pain.
It was just like, you know what my favorite vegetable is?
Oh, fuck.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, but...
I know, we're hijacking this podcast with your misery, but it was funny.
All good.
So, one other question I have for you, because you have your mic on Mondays. Obviously, you said you're getting burnt out with stuff. What other mics are you hitting? Are you hitting other open mics regularly?
Yeah,
I know Anthony saw you down in Salem at one point.
Yep, I'm kind of all over. I mean, I think. I should remember, but I don't. Some big name comedian said this once in like an interview, and it stuck with me, but I forget who it was. But I followed whatever this person said, whoever this person is. I followed what they said, which was like, you should never stop going to mics. No matter how good you are, no matter how many years you've been doing it, no matter how professional you think you might be, you should always go to mics because that's how you learn. That's how you meet other comedians. How you strengthen your jokes. So I try to do it as much as I can, but like life happens. But like this week alone, like I'm not doing my mic tonight because I'm doing this. But like tomorrow I'm at Winter Circle in Salisbury, Massachusetts, and then Wednesday I'm gonna hit the Brick in Dover, and then Thursday.
Tell Aaron hi.
Yeah, I will. And then Thursday I have some friends that I run a backyard show with. On the 19th of this month is that, but I'm gonna go there and probably workshop about 15 minutes.
That's awesome. Yeah, Haverhill, Mass, right? That's the backyard show that you're doing?
Yeah, so the backyard show is at Haley and Bill Moschella's house, who are just wonderful, wonderful people and supporters of the arts, and they run shows sometimes in their backyard, and I'm lucky enough to for them to let me run comedy showcases there about every 6 weeks in the warmer months. This is the last one of the year.
Huh. How does that work? Do they sell tickets, or like do they have to get permits and shit?
No, the neighbors are cool, basically. And we do donation based for those. Like if people want to donate, we usually pull like enough to get the comedians a cup of coffee. But it's a hangout. It's fun. It's BYOB. People get stoned and shit like that. It's fun. It's just a good time.
We I don't know if you listened to the episode that dropped today with Nick Powell, but you know Nick, right? Yeah, I think he did one of those back.
Yeah, I know Nick. He did. He did the most recent one.
Yeah. He was talking about high mics or high shows where the audience is high. Have you ever done one of those? That sounds like right up my alley. I don't smoke.
I've run a couple.
Do you really?
I have. I almost every year. Well, the last 2 years, I should say, or the last 3, I've run 420 shows.
Holy shit! Well, listen, if you need some weed for your 420 show, let your boy know. I'm in the weed industry, so I would love. That's my dream. Get your boy on there. I can.
All right, we'll talk because I would love to do something like that. Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I'm very Bane with the weed. Like a lot of people merely adopt the weed, but I was born in it. I was born in it my whole life.
Right on. I like weed shows. I do not like being stoned when I'm doing stand up, but if the audience is high, it's fun.
Wow, there you go. Yeah, I've never done it not high.
My preferred method is to be stone cold sober.
Wow, that makes sense. Yeah, clarity. Get quicker.
I'm usually good with a couple beers. I don't smoke. I smoked one time. Some crazy shit he gave me. Didn't sit well with me. But I'm usually a couple beers type of guy. But I wouldn't mind performing in front of people that were stoned.
You'd get
although I do
every fun, yeah, and
great.
It's fun too because like I stopped drinking about 2 years ago, and I'm not smoking weed right now, but that's also not relevant to this. But I'm just kind of smoking cigarettes and a lot of caffeine right now. But there's a point to that. I like when I was drinking, like I would do shows drunk or with a couple beers in me or a joint in me or whatever, an edible, and I'm not as good when I'm under the influence of anything, and I don't have as much fun. It's a drag. I'd rather just like be stone cold sober, get off stage, and then smoke a bowl or something.
I can see that. Yeah, I've met a couple comics who have been like, "How the fuck do you get that high before you go up there?" And I get it. I can see the allure, but alas, I'm not funny.
It's tough for me. Like I usually smoke a butt before I go on stage, and that's all I need in me.
Yeah, I heard Rogan talking about that. That little nicotine hit before he goes on stage is a big helps a lot.
It does, and I don't know why, but it does.
Well, fucking awesome. On that note, right, Wayne? What else we got? We wrapping this shit up? We got 30 more minutes.
I think we hit everything. Max, do you have anything? Do you have any particular shows you want to highlight? Obviously, I want you to send me all the info on where people can find your book and your 2 specials. Anything else?
Yeah, post that shit.
I will send you everything after the done.
Supporting everyone. So.
When does this air? Probably because that depends on.
I'm going to have this done. It should be up on Monday.
Okay. So I got a bunch then. So I'm going to cheat and look. So on the 19th of this month. So if this is airing Monday, that in 4 days at 11 Allen Street, I'm doing Comedy in the Yard. The Halloween edition. It is the last Comedy in the Yard I'm doing this year. It is 11 Allen Street, Haverhill, Massachusetts. That's the Michelle's house I was talking about. On the 21st, 2 days later, Alan Pickett will be headlining One Broadway in Lawrence. I'm producing that with a really fun lineup. And then on the 27th, I'm doing a Halloween comedy show costume contest at Harbor Place in Haverhill with a really fun lineup. And the Comedy in the Yard is BYOB, but the other 2 are sober shows. Like, I don't care if you're stoned, but alcohol is not allowed. And those are fun, too, and it gives people who don't drink or maybe are in AA or whatever a thing to do that doesn't even have alcohol, so there's no temptation. November 20th, I will turn 29 and also headline Harbor Place. That show is not announced, but it will be probably at the end of this week. By the time this airs, it should be up. And my book you can get at Bull Moose in Salem, New Hampshire. You can get it on Amazon, or you can get it out of the trunk of my car. My book on tape is on Bandcamp. The name of the book and book on tape are both This Is Why You Know Me. Both albums, You Can Call Me Dad and Just Another Beautiful Day, are streaming everywhere. The special for Just Another Beautiful Day is on YouTube. If you just type in my name, Maxwell Shultz, no C in the last name, as Wayne learned earlier today, it is very easy to find. And I think the other thing I wanted to mention, which we didn't talk on, I made a mental note to do this, to touch on this, and we didn't, which is fine. But I think one of the most important things with stand-up for me, and I don't think this needs to apply to everybody. If it does, cool. But you should not only be relatable, but you should be able to make somebody in the audience, even just one person, make them feel better about something. Which is why, if either of you have listened to Just Another Beautiful Day or watched it, I have a joke in there about my own sexual assault. I was sexually assaulted a few years ago. And that's in there because I want somebody else who may have had that happen to them be able to go, oh, it gets better. Life is okay. In the new hour I'm writing, I'm working on a joke about stopping drinking and how I used to black out every night, and I don't now. And you can get things can change, and it's okay to fuck up or have shitty things happen to you. And I think that's important to get that message across. And that is one of my biggest driving forces in doing stand-up is helping people. I think it's very important, and if that's the way I can do it, that's what I'm going to keep doing. There's a bunch of topics I want in this new hour. That's part of why I'm having a little bit of trouble with it is making serious topics like quitting drinking funny. I'm having trouble taking things like having the worst breakup of my life and COVID happen at the same time. But I'm gonna make them funny, and they're gonna be good and relatable. And I think those are things that people can relate to, but don't want to talk about. But I don't mind talking about them, so I do it. I mentioned, my dad and my brother help produce pretty much everything I do. And if I tell a joke about masturbating in front of them, or I can tell the joke about how my father delivered pizza to a porn star in front of him, actually, in You Can Call Me Dad, I tell that joke, and you can hear him laugh in the audio because he was in the audience. Fuck it, I can talk about anything on stage. It doesn't matter. And I think that's important. I think you should be able to do shit like that. Or I should be able to, not necessarily everybody. If that's not your thing, don't do it. But
yeah, I
think
agree.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah. In that same vein, like I mentioned, I watched your most of your interview with Miss Adventure. And
yeah. She's a
kind of
perfect example of what I'm talking about.
Thing, yeah. Yeah, so definitely check
we touched on that very, very much in that interview, where Miss Adventure is trans and talks a great deal. I ran the show where she just did her hour most recently, and the whole thing is about it's okay to be trans and not know what you're doing. That's okay. We all get where we're going. And I think that shit's really fucking important.
Yeah, I think a lot of that gets overlooked.
Day to
day,
I do too.
For a lot of people.
I do too.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come talk to us, and hopefully you'll do it again.
Oh yeah, I'd love to come back. This was so fun.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure.
And I don't know about Wayne, but for me, I have a date with the trunk of your car like Joe Pesci in Casino because I want one of those fucking books. We're gonna make
man.
Happen.
I got them. Not in front of me because I normally do, but I don't. I'm doing a purge
only if you sign
my rooming house. So yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll get you one.
Woo!
Yeah, for sure.
Look at that shit.
Nice.
Well, I know that's going to be a worthy step in the motherfucking quest for laughs, everybody, right? You didn't even see it coming!